Okay guys, so in the last video we looked at adding the header tags. What I've done is I've deleted some of the H1, some of the H2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 tags out, and I'm also going to change that because that was annoying me from last video. Now what we're going to do is we're going to look at adding some paragraph text to this. This is basically a block of text that will display and be styled on our screen as a block of text. And to do that we use the P tag, P for paragraph, and once again, my rule of thumb, open a tag, close a tag straight away. We're going to add the content to it in between. Now, if it's a small block of text, I will tend to keep the tags on the same line, but generally speaking, I personally, and this is once again personal preference, I'll tend to drop them to a few new lines and then indent it. It just means that it looks a little bit more readable. So I'm just going to put this is some text in a paragraph. Now this is some text inside a paragraph. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this and I'm just going to place it outside. Okay, and I'm just going to change that from inside to outside. Now I'm not going mad. There is method to my madness in this one. So this block of text is inside a paragraph tag, and this block of text is outside of, or this bit of text is outside a paragraph. So if I hit refresh on my web page, you'll notice that both of them, they appear just the same. It looks the same. It's the same font, the same size. They appear to be styled the same way. Now the reason being is the browser is assuming that I've made a mistake. It's assuming that this block of text here was supposed to be in a paragraph and I've accidentally missed it out. It just makes that assumption. Now I can technically place it there outside of the body. So this is all the body is everything that should be displayed on the web page, but I've put this outside of it. Now I'm just going to, just for sake of argument, I'm going to paste it there as well. Now as I hit save and refresh my web page, you'll notice that this one is the one from the head. So this has appeared right at the very top of the page. Then it's gone and it's processed it, and it's processed these two, and it's assumed, because this is in the body, it's assumed it's a block of text. And this one is outside of the body and it doesn't really know what to do with it, so it's kind of just tagged it onto the end. It's just like stuck it on there. This isn't what we want. So one of the benefits to using tags is the fact that they allow us to style and control, more importantly, control how our web page looks. So we can be extremely explicit. On a very technical sense, HTML derives from XML, which is Extensible Markup Language, which is basically, it's a universal structuring language. So we tend to see this a lot more in modern systems, usually on mobile platforms, because you can use something like HTML to structure your web page, and you can use other languages to add the content inside these tags and dynamically add content. And that's really important, because if you've got a browser which is on a desktop like the one that I've got here, you're going to see the web page displayed like this, whereas you might not have a browser. You might have a tablet that has a screen which is sort of this size, or you may have a mobile smartphone who's got a screen this size. And by using XML as a structuring language, what you can do is you can say, right, I don't care what I want the content to be here. I don't care how it's going to look. I'm going to leave that to some other application to determine how it's going to look. And we use in web development, we use CSS to help determine, we figure out what platform we're viewing it through, and then we style it accordingly. So HTML and XML look at the structure of a web page. So you have something like this which sits outside of a tag. It is then left to the browser to determine what to do with it, and it makes assumptions, and it assumes that because it's inside the body and it's a block of text, it should be a paragraph. So it makes the assumption that it's a paragraph. However, and this is a big however, when we go to add some style, such as CSS. What we're doing is we're going to style the paragraphs. So this will affect all the paragraph blocks, and I'm going to change the colour to blue. Now, I've not gone crazy and I've not misspelt this. You have to use the American version for colour. When we get on to looking at CSS, you'll see that. But you've got to use that American version, and this will affect just the paragraph. So this will only affect this tag here, and it forces the browser to realise that this one isn't a paragraph. So you'll see that if I wanted all blocks of text, all paragraphs to be blue, and I'd accidentally made a mistake and this should have been inside a paragraph, but I made a mistake, this text isn't going to be blue, and there is nothing that I can do other than changing the background properties of the body to make this text blue. Okay, we will look at styling in another video. This was just a little bit of extra information for you. You probably didn't need to know, but it was just a little bit of extra geeky information which I thought would be quite useful. Let's see, there we go. So this is the start of our web page. What we're going to look at next is styling things a little bit.